The Philippine Islands had been a U.S. territory for 2 decades and was promised independence under the Jones Law of 1916. Progressive reformers saw the country and its people as a major target for modernization, and education was its main weapon. 7 forward-looking Filipinas came together in 1919 to create a school where young women could gain the knowledge and skills that would make them modern women. Paz Marquez Benitez was the first president of the Philippine Women's College. Jose Abad Santos was its first chairman of the Board of Trustees. Francisca Tirona Benitez was the second president, and with her husband Dean Conrado, guided the school from a house on A. Flores Street to its iconic Taft Avenue campus. In 1932, the college became a university, making PWU the first university for women in Asia founded by Asians. It provided a space where innovations in education flourished, and young people were encouraged to be the best that they could be. For over 100 years, the Philippine Women's University has been known as a leader in quality education. In 1934, PWU moved into its main campus on Taft Avenue, and since the 1970s has been co-educational. Located in the heart of Metro Manila, it is easily accessible by public transport and surrounded by affordable housing. Today's PWU offers undergraduate and graduate courses in several fields of study. Its business and management programs are responsive to the needs of industry, using evolving technology for global competence. PWU graduates excel in arts and sciences, education, social work, and diplomacy. Its fine arts and music programs have produced outstanding graduates through a holistic education that treasures heritage as well as excellence. PWU has pioneered in fields such as food science, nutrition and dietetics, medical technology, pharmacy, and nursing. PWU continues to play an essential role in producing graduates who possess the skills that make them competitive in the country and anywhere in the world.
Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to be the MC for today's webinar. My name is Andrew Kevin Nicanor. On behalf of the Guidance Counseling and Testing Office, I would like to extend my warm welcome to all of you. We appreciate all of you taking time off your busy schedule to join us today. As we note the importance of wellness and mental health, and in order to adapt to the new reality, students need to find alternative ways of continuing their daily lives. This requires a paradigm shift in what is considered the normal way of doing things. Today, we will learn new normal ways to strengthen our well-being. For today's transformative learning system entitled #PWMindYourHealth, Gearing Towards a Better Normal Series 2, is led by the Guidance Counseling and Testing Office in coordination with the Campus Live, ICT, and Multimedia Center. The target transformative learning system core values today focus on wellness as we stress the importance of rest and relaxation, physical, social, mental, and emotional health of the students. I also humbly remind our dear students, for you to receive an e-certificates, please make sure to answer our evaluation forms. Please click the Google Form links, or you may use the QR code provided at the end of the webinar. Few reminders for our program. All questions will be entertained in the question and answer portion. You may type your questions at the chat box when the Q&A starts. To formally begin our program, please join us with our video prayer and followed by the national anthem.
Wonderful.
to officially welcome us to our program. It is an honor and privilege to have our new guidance head, who is also an advocate of wellness and mental health. Ms. Cristina Meron, to open our program with a meaningful remarks.
Good morning, everyone. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the second part of hashtag PWU Mind Your Health, gearing towards a better normal series. It has been a year since the lockdown was implemented as a safety measure against the spread of the COVID-19 virus, and we may have had varying degrees of restrictions in our community throughout the year, but one thing remains the same. At least as of the moment, and I am pertaining to the fact that the full implementation of face-to-face classes are still prohibited. Some of you might find this convenient, but to others, this might still come as a challenge. As school practitioners, we are aware of the students' difficulties in this new normal. I personally encountered students who have a lot of chores at home. Some even have part-time work or commissioned work on the side so they could cope with the financial challenges brought about by this pandemic. I also witnessed how some of my colleagues struggled as they tried to work and also tried to complete their requirements in graduate school. I am pretty sure that we also have graduate school students here who have kids and a family to take care of. Studying or working remotely in your respective homes could lead to difficulties in delineating your role as a child, as a parent, or as a spouse, as a student, or even perhaps as an employee. It makes me wonder, how do you study? How do you ensure that your grades or your academic performance are not compromised? How do you strike the balance? How do you take care of yourself? What keeps you moving forward despite these challenges? To address these concerns, we invited Ms. Cha, Ms. Sarah, Sir Daryl, and they are our notable speakers from social work, teaching, and counseling professions, and are our fellow advocates in promoting the students' mental health and wellness. I sincerely hope that these webinars may serve as an opportunity for each and every one of us to learn and share our best practices as we thrive in the better normal.
Thank you, Ms. Dean, for meaningful and wonderful remarks. And again, welcome to Philippine Women's University. As we believe that everyone can be a mental health advocate, we invited different mental health professionals and advocate as a part of our series. So for the first part of our program, it is a great pleasure for me to introduce our first speaker, who is going to present us how our students will manage their study habits in a new normal way. This is a subject in which we should all be deeply interested. Our speaker, although having spent almost her entire career as a registered guidance counselor, and also a graduate of magna cum laude at Far Eastern University for her bachelor degree in psychology, and also a graduate of MA in counseling at De La Salle University. She is currently working as a guidance counselor at Manila Central University, and also working as a partner for learning and design delivery at Led to Thrive Leadership and Management. She is an advocate of mental health and a champion of wellness of both students and employees. As a loving daughter and sister to her family, she is in a continuous process of effecting family work balance. Students, ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome our speaker, Ms. Charmaine Almacen.
Good morning, PWU students. So first, I would like to thank the PWU Guidance and Testing Office, especially Ms. Vina Medrano, for inviting me to be one of the resource speaker of this webinar. So actually, our topic today is very interesting because this is one of my favorite topics to discuss because I can still vividly recall myself when I was still a student like you that I would Google answers to the question how to be a better student. And the things that I will find, I will read through them and I will try my best to apply each one of them in my own personal study. So, in today's webinar, I'm going to share with you the things that I learned, the study techniques that I learned throughout the years that helped me with my academic performance when I was in college, in graduate school, and even when I took the board exam. So let me just share my screen with you. So sabi ni Helen Keller, a good education is a stepping stone to wealth. So for us to achieve that wealth or that prosperity in the academics, we need stepping stones. And for this webinar, I'm going to share with you 4 stepping stones that you can do so you can achieve this outcome. So let's start by answering this question. I want you to reflect on these questions. First, what are your current study habits? Second, how many hours or days do you prepare for an examination? Third, what are the study habits that you believe to be effective and that you want to adopt? And then lastly, how long is your ideal study time to prepare for an examination? I want you to answer these questions as honestly as possible. So why are we talking about this question? So why are we talking about this topic? Because these questions can actually promote wider self-awareness. So what is self-awareness? Self-awareness is our ability to understand ourselves and to be consciously aware of our personality, emotions, behavior, and necessities in life. Research also say that people who are self-aware can make important choices, maintain a positive attitude, and have healthier habits. So if you are self-aware, you know who you are in the present, your point A, and also your point B, who you want to be in the future. So with my questions earlier, the first 2 questions wants you to ponder about your current study habits, while the last 2 questions wants you to ponder your ideal study habits. However, most students know their current study habits but do not know what ideal study habits they can adopt in their personal study. So this is what our discussion will be in this webinar. But first, let us assess the common study techniques that students usually do. Common study number 1, we will do a short activity called memory, wherein we will test how good your memory skills are. So in this activity, I want you to be as honest as possible because cheating will only forfeit the purpose of this activity. So ano yung gagawin natin sa activity na ito? We will draw from memory how the new 5 peso coin look like. So it is not allowed to check a coin. It is not allowed to check your pockets and your wallets. So be as honest as possible. So if you are ready, please grab a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper so that you'll be able to participate in this activity. So before we start, I want you to know that there are 12 pieces of information on our 5 peso coin. So out of 12, ilan kaya ang tingin mong makukuha mo? So I want you to write your guess kung ano yung tingin mong makukuha mo from this activity, score na makukuha mo, write it on the lower right part of your answer sheet. So, ilan kaya ang maaalala nyo? How well can you remember it? So, I'll give you 2 minutes to work on this activity. 1 minute para sa front part of the coin, another minute for the back of the coin. So, are you ready? Your timer starts now. Draw the front part of the 5 peso coin. seconds. Time is up. Now, another minute to draw the back part of the 5 peso coin. Your timer starts now. Last 20 seconds. Last 10 seconds. Time's up. So now we will check your work. Please remember that it is not your artistic ability that we are measuring. It is actually the accuracy of your work. Yan. So, dun tayo nakafocus. So, are you ready to check your own paper? So, again, please be honest as possible. So, let's go through each one of them, each one of the features of the new 5 peso coin. So, this is how the new 5 peso coin look like. So, let's go through each one of its features. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 is the design behind the number 5 and the word piso. Dito sa design na to, kung titingnan mabuti, ang nakasulat dito ay maliliit na mga letra na bumubuo sa words na Republika ng Pilipinas. While the 11th feature is yung nasa likod naman ng logo ng Bangko Sentral, kung saan nakalagay naman ang maliliit na letra na bumubuo sa salitang Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. And the 12th feature of our new 5 peso coin is that it has 2 designs. So meron tayong nasa left, circle lang, plain na circle lang ang kanyang borders, while dito sa right, merong parang curves ang kanyang borders. So, ginawa ito para hindi malito ang mga tao sa kung ano yung piso at ano yung 5 piso. So, ilan ang nakuha nyo? Out of 12, ilan ang nakuha ninyo? Ayan. So, I hope na somehow satisfactory naman ang inyong mga nakuhang scores. So, let us now discuss how is this related to our discussion about academics? What's the point of this activity? Let us first analyze, ilang beses na ba tayong nakakita ng 5 peso coin? Let's say na nagbimeryenda ka, tuwing alas 3 ng hapon, at bumibili ka ng burger sa kanto na nagkakahalagang 20 pesos. So, kadalasan, kumukuha ka ng 4 na 5 piso sa isang araw. Let's say na ikaw din ay nagmemeryenda lang 3 days in a week, no? 3 times a week lang because meron kang diet na sinusunod. So, nakakakita ka lang ng 4 na 5 piso sa 3 araw sa isang linggo. At itong barya na ito, itong coin na ito ay na-launch noong 2019, meaning 2 taon na ang nakakalipas. 2 taon na nating nakikita itong coin na ito. So 4 times 3 times 52 times 2, humigit kumulang 1,248 times ka nang nakakakita ng 5 peso coin. So ano ba ang point nito? How is this related sa ating academics? This means that no matter how much you see or how frequent you see something, it doesn't mean that you understand it better. So this means that just reading or rereading a textbook isn't enough. Hindi siya enough. Because we have this thing called fluency illusion kung saan sinasabi nito na the more you see something, the more familiar it becomes, but it doesn't mean that you know it better. So yun yung nagiging problem sa rereading, no? Nakikita natin siya madalas, nagiging familiar tayo sa mga text, pero hindi natin sure kung talagang naiintindihan natin yung mga binabasa natin. Second study habit is this, no? Whenever we see a text or we are given our handouts, lagi natin tong ginagawa. We highlight or we underline. So ano ba yung purpose ng highlighting? The purpose of highlighting is to draw attention to important information in a text. So like for example, in this slide, hinighlight ko yung purpose ng highlighting para mas madali niyong makita. Pero ano ba yung pagkakamali na kadalasang ginagawa ng mga estudyante? Whenever they see or read a textbook or their handouts, they often do this, no? Lahat ng text ay hina-highlight or in-underline. So ano ba nagiging problema pag ito ang ginagawang technique ng mga estudyante? Hindi agad-agad nakikita kung ano ang importanteng information na dapat mong mabasa or matutunan sa text dahil lahat ay in-underline. So lahat ay parang importante kahit hindi naman. So research also found out na highlighting and rereading are not as effective when it comes to learning. It is because it doesn't promote understanding or contemplating the meaning of the content that we are studying. So superficial lang yung pag-aaral na nagagawa natin when it comes to highlighting and rereading. Third common study habit is related to this question. How many of you crammed for an examination? So raise your hands. Raise your hands, those who are guilty. Don't worry because I am also guilty of this, no? So this was me when I was in college. Nagmamadali ako matapos yung requirement na kinakailangan sa susunod naming subject. So hindi lang mga ganitong requirement na cram, kundi pag-aaral na rin sa mga examination. However, kahit nagka-cram ako, I still get scores like this. So I still get high grades. I often pass my subjects kahit nagka-cram ako. And because of this experience, nakabuo ako sa isip ko ng belief na mas mataas talaga yung grades ko pag ako ay nagka-cram. Or kung hindi naman mataas masyado yung score ko, naniniwala ako na makakapasa pa rin ako kahit nagpo-procrastinate ako. And this is actually thanks to this effect called the recency effect, wherein it says na we have the tendency to remember the most recently presented information best. So kung ano yung huli nating inaral, during the examination, mas matatandaan natin siya because of this effect. Pero let's say the next day, yung professor sinabi niya na meron tayo ulit surprise quiz about the same material that we took yesterday. Pero ako, krinam ko siya kahapon. Ngayon, wala akong preparation as in. So, ano sa tingin nyo ang magiging score ko? Personally, I believe that I would have gotten a significantly lower score than what I got the previous day. Bakit? It is because yung recency effect is highly dependent sa ating short-term memory. And research say na we can only store information in our short-term memory for only 30 to 40 seconds. So, ganun lang kabilis ma-retain ang information. Lalo kung wala tayong gagawin for it to be retained. So with our discussion, we found out na these common study techniques such as rereading, highlighting and underlining, and cramming or procrastinating are not as effective as you want it to be. So ano na lang ang gagawin natin? Anong mga study habits na lang ang pwede nating gawin? This is where we're going to discuss about the answer. So itong answer method na ito ay 6 best study practices according sa study ni John Dunlosco and other researchers then. So we will go through them one by one. First technique is no cramming, wherein we're going to use the strategy called the space practice. Space practice is also called distributed practice. This is implementing a schedule that distributes your exam preparations over multiple sessions. So how does this look like? Ayan. So this is an illustration of space practice, yung nasa baba, and mass practice, yung nasa taas. Mass practice, aka cramming, ayan. So may test kayo ng March 22, the day before, yung 21, nag-aral ka ng 4 hours para dun sa exam nyo kinabukasan. Pero when you are doing space practice, may exam ka ng 22, you planned for your study sessions that you will allot 30 minutes each study session and then prinat mo na rin sa calendar kailan mo siya gagawin. So, in this example, 2 weeks before the exam, nagpre-prepare na siya, nag-aaral na siya for the exam. So, another illustration of space practice is this, no? So, kung mass practice, aka procrastination, ang ginagawa mo, 6 hours before the exam, kung may exam ka na March 29, the day before, 28, mag-aral ka ng 6 hours. Pero kung ikaw ay nagpa-practice or gumagawa ng space practice, March 15 pa lang, nagsistart ka ng mag-aral, no? For 1 hour. So, na-plot mo na rin sa calendar mo ano yung mga days na mag-aaral ka, kailan ka magpapahinga. So, another important thing to remember in space practice is reviewing past lessons studied. So, let's say that you started studying March 15 Monday, for 1 hour, you studied chapter 1. Sa next study session mo, which is March 17, you allotted another hour. Ang target mo is maaral yung chapter 2, pero before you proceed in studying chapter 2, you will review first yung key takeaways, key learnings na natutunan mo sa chapter 1. Next study session, Friday, March 19, you allotted another hour. Ang target mong maaral is chapter 3, but before you do so, you will review first yung key takeaways sa chapters 1 and 2. So on and so forth. Ayan. So bakit ba importante or bakit effective yung space practice? It is because lahat tayo mayroong forgetting curve. Normal na makalimutan natin ng mga bagay-bagay. So sabi ko nga kanina, it will only take about 30 to 40 seconds for us to remember something. Pero if we are doing repetition over a long period of time, mas may tendency na maalala natin yung mga bagay na inaaral natin. Also, through space practice, the information we are studying are stored in the long-term memory, kung saan mas magagamit natin to kahit na ilang taon na ang nakakalipas. Simula na inaral mo yon, maaalala mo pa rin yung information na yon. Next strategy is switch, wherein you will use the strategy interleaving. This is distributing practice across a study session but also mixing up the order of materials across different topics. So how does this look like? Yan. So this is an illustration of blocking versus interleaving practice. So yung nasa taas, magkakatabi yung topics 1 to 6, ganito yung blocking, ganito yung itsura ng blocking. So let's say one day, isang topic lang aaralin mo, second, isa lang ding topic, gano'n, so and so forth. Pero when you are doing interleaving, you have reviewed ano yung mga dapat mong aralin at paano yung magiging technique mo para mas maintindihan mo yung bawat topics na yon. So for interleaving, instead of studying one topic per day, inaaral mo bits and pieces from each topics or chapters para mas maalala mo or mas maintindihan mo yung mga topics na inaaral mo. Why another example is this. Let's say that you are studying mathematics, no? So, kung ikaw ay gumagawa ng block practice, for 1 hour you will only study addition, for the next hour you will study subtraction, and then for the next hour naman multiplication lang. Pero when you are doing interleave practice, you are mixing up the order of the topics that you are studying. So let's say, sa first hour, nag-start ka muna sa multiplication and then addition and then subtraction for 1 hour. Second hour, nag-start ka naman sa subtraction, multiplication, and then addition. And then third hour, nag-start ka naman sa addition, subtraction, and then multiplication. Yan. So, why is this important or why is this technique effective? Because dinidevelop nito yung categorization and problem skills as well as our planning skills. Kasi tinitingnan muna natin yung bigger picture and then we get each information na relevant para mas maging maayos o mas maging effective yung study habits natin. Also, it promotes our brain's ability to differentiate or discriminate between concepts and strengthens our memory associations. Yeah. Next is recalling what you know. And the strategy to use in this is retrieval practice, wherein you will get the information you learned out, no? So yung ilalabas mo lahat ng mga natutunan mo. This technique is also called the testing effect. So how can you do this? Or what are the ways that you can do retrieval practice? So I can suggest four. First is taking tests or quizzes. So after 1 hour or after 1 week of studying, mag-alat ka ng time or day na i-test mo yung sarili mo. Gaano na ba kadami or gaano na ba ka-deep yung mga natutunan mo sa mga inaral mo. Second is group study. Pero unlike our common group study technique wherein we will gather together tapos mag-review din tayo individually tapos magchichikahan and kakain, no? It is not as effective kung ganon ang gagawin natin. What I can suggest is for you to study individually muna, and then when you set for a group study, prepare set of questions na mababato nyo sa bawat isa. Through that, mas na-promote nyo itong retrieval practice. Third is creating your own reviewers base sa pagkakaintindi mo. So ito yung kadalasang ginagawa ko noong college ako. After our class or before an exam, gagawin ko is isusulat ko lahat ng mga alam ko dun sa topic na itetest namin. Gagawa ko ng table, maglilista ko ng mga names, ng mga terms, for me to understand ano ba yung mga naaalala ko pa dito sa topic na ito. And then lastly is using flashcards. So you'll just get a piece of paper, write the term in front, and then sa likod naman, ilalagay mo yung meaning ng term na yon. Ayan. So these are the ways that you can do retrieval practice. So bakit importante or bakit effective itong retrieval practice? It is because it exercises and strengthens our memory. Doon natin nakikita or doon natin nahuhugot sa ating long-term memory yung mga natutunan natin from our study. Also, ang pinopromote nito is yung paglalagay ng information sa ating long-term memory instead na sa ating short-term memory. Para kahit ilang araw, ilang buwan, o ilang taon pa ang lumipas, matatandaan mo pa rin ito dahil nakastore ito sa ating long-term memory. So, kadalasan tinatanong ako ng mga students, Ma'am, paano ko po ba mas maaalala yung mga inaaral namin? Kasi ang bilis ko po makalimot. Paano po kaya ang pwedeng gawin? So, this is my not so secret way to remember things. You only have to do spaced practice, which is not cramming, interleaving, switching, and retrieval practice or doing practice tests. So when you do this, mas malaki yung chance na yung information ay ma-store sa inyong long-term memory, and even if first year pa lang kayo or college pa lang kayo, pag dumating kayo sa board exam, kung meron kayong ganun, or civil service exam, matatandaan nyo pa rin yung mga information na yun dahil nandun siya sa long-term memory. Ayan. So another technique is ask, explain, and connect, wherein you will use the strategy elaboration. This is integrating new knowledge to larger concepts and creating links between different ideas. So kadalasan, kung may tinuturo sa atin na theory sa klase, maganda kung ihahambing natin ito sa kung ano na yung alam natin or pwede rin sa ating mga personal na experiences. So, we also have to think about the meaning, hindi lang yung pagme-memorize, no? Ano ba yung meaning behind this term or ano ba yung meaning behind this theory para mas matandaan natin siya. Next is words and visuals, wherein we will use the strategy dual coding. So, you'll just, when you study, you can also search for visuals or mga pictures ng mga bagay na inaaral mo para sa ganun, meron kang dalawang ways para matandaan at maintindihan yung bagay na inaaral mo. So what can you do to do this words and visuals technique? So you can look at your class materials and then find visuals in the internet or sa mga books or sa kahit saan man na pwede kang makakuha ng resource. And you can also actually draw this topic out from your memory. So kung yung pagkakaalala mo, pagkakaintindi mo, you can do this. So I did this when I was taking my biology subject, kung saan kailangan naming i-memorize yung mga systems ng katawan. So out of memory, after kong aralin yung mga systems ng katawan, I'll draw it para mas maintindihan ko siya, mas maalala ko siya. And then lastly is examples wherein we're going to use the strategy concrete examples. So this is very self-explanatory wherein you will just generate or give examples based from what you have heard from your professors, what you have read from your class materials or your own personal examples para dun sa mga concepts na inaaral mo. But you make sure lang that your examples are correct. You can ask your professors or you can verify through the internet kung tama ba yung mga examples na nakita mo or na-generate mo. Because on the internet, ang daming mga bagay na nakikita that we are not sure how true or correct they are. Ayan. It will also be helpful kung kayo mismo, meron kayong sarili nyong examples. Yan. So in summary, the answer method are the following. Ask, explain, and connect, no cramming, switch, words and visuals, examples, and recall what you know. So now that we know about the answer, alam na rin natin kung yung current habits natin from our self-awareness activity, alam na rin natin kung ano yung ideal, which is the answer method, ano na yung next? So now that we know our point A, our present, and our point B, the ideal, ano na yung next natin gagawin? Paano natin ma-bridge yung gap between our point A and our point B? So I'll give you 4 things to do for you to be able to bridge the gap. First is to ask yourself, why? Why do you want to do this? Why is achieving this goal important to you? Why do you want to cross that gap? Iba-iba ang pwede maging reason, no? Some people might say na gusto kong graduate, kaya gusto kong magkaroon ng better study habits. I want to excel in class. I want to make my parents proud. I want to be a better professional pagdating ng panahon, di ba? So iba-iba yung mga whys natin. And I want you to ponder on this question. Why? Why do you want to do this? And I want you to hold on to your why. Because in times of difficulty, this will be your North Star. So kung nawawalan ka na ng gana sa pag-aaral, try to remember, bakit? Bakit mo to ginagawa? Ano yung purpose mo? What is your why? And with that, mas mare-replenish yung iyong motivation. Next is to ask yourself, how? Paano ko mabibridge yung gap? Sometimes, or most of the times, simple lang ang sagot sa tanong na to. It could be just doing it. Just take action. Just move. If you don't move, you won't move. So you have to take any kahit gaano ka simpleng step, you have to take it para umabante ka. Next is to ask yourself what. What are the specific steps that you can do to bridge the gap? So in this point, you'll brainstorm or you will list the steps and this will be your system. So one thing that is important to include in your system is to know how to manage your time. So in this part, I'll also share with you 5 tips that you can do to help you better manage your time. First is to be intentional, wherein you will keep a to-do list. So personally, I also do this, no? Nililista ko lahat ng mga kailangan kong gawin for the day, lahat ng mga kailangan kong aralin for the day, para hindi ko sila makalimutan. So, we have to be intentional. Ano ba yung top 3 na bagay na gusto mong gawin, ma-accomplish siya isang araw? It is also important to limit our to-do list sa 3 to 5 things lang and not to make too long of a list because that way, masyado na tayong ma-overwhelm. So, keep your to-do list ng 3 to 5 things lang sa iyong list. Next is deprioritize. Rank your task. Gaano ba ito ka-importante? Gaano ba ito ka-urgent? Or pwede ko ba itong wag na lang munang gawin? Or pwede bang iba na lang muna ang gumawa nito? So you can use this Eisenhower matrix to help you decide kung ano yung pwede mong gawin dun sa specific task na yon at kung saan siya nakakategorize. Next is be focused or manage distractions. This is actually one of the common questions din na palagi kong natatanggap from students. Ma'am, paano ko po ba i-manage yung aking distraction? Or paano ba ako makapag-focus? So let's do this activity to somehow train you to focus. So I'll give you 20 seconds to find as many words as you can. Hanapin niyo yung mga words na to dito sa ating word puzzle sa left. Ayan. So, 20 seconds starts now. Time's up. Ayan. So, ilan ang nakuha nyo or nakita ninyong words? Okay, so it doesn't matter naman kung ilan yung nakuha nyo because what I want you to learn is how to make sense of this chaos. Because if you will look at this puzzle in a bigger picture, parang ang gulo, parang set lang siya or mga words lang siyang, mga letters lang siyang pinag-combine. Pero for you to focus, you really have to make sense of the chaos. So you really have to look, ito bang mga letters na to ay mayroong binubuong word? So by doing this, by doing exercises like this, you will also be able to improve your ability to concentrate or to focus. So this is just one example. Another example or another activity that can help you focus is through meditation. If you are fond of doing that, I encourage you to do so para rin ma-improve ang inyong concentration skills. Next is to be structured wherein you will have to time block your work. So, ginagawa ko rin to, pero with me, what works with me is per day ang blocking ko. So, I'll refer dun sa aking to-do list, ano ba yung mga kailangan kong gawin for the week, and then I'll set a day kung kailan ko siya dapat gawin at tapusin. Some people naman, what works for them is per hour ang kanilang pagta-time block. So, let's say, very detailed ang kanilang pag-time block. Let's say 6 to 7 o'clock, ako'y gigising, 7 to 8, ako ay magkakain ng almusal, 8 to 10, ako ay may first subject, mag-aaral ako sa subject na ito, 11 to 12, ako ay mag-lunch, ganun. Very specific, no? According sa time, sa hour na meron tayo sa isang araw. So I encourage you to explore your options. Explore what works for you. I'll not force you to do one technique. I encourage you to explore lahat ng kaya mong explore so that you'll see what really works for you. And then lastly, be self-aware. And you can do it by tracking your time. So actually, one thing na pwede mong gawin is yun nga, ilista mo yung mga to-dos mo. Sa akin, that works well na. Nakikita ko kung ano yung mga ginagawa ko for the day. And I can also determine whether I was productive at that moment or masyado ba akong nag-relax ng time na yon. So by being more self-aware, you will be able to improve your habits, your time management techniques. Ayan. So those are the 5 essential time management techniques that I can share with you. So with your system, now that you know about the answer and this time management techniques, what you have to do is to be consistent in doing this. Because we have to remember that goals are good for setting a direction, but it is through our systems that we make progress. Last thing that you can do is to refine your system. You have to assess whether your system still works for you or if you can improve something in your system. We have to remember that when we learn to transform our habits or our system, we will be able to transform our lives. We just need to be as honest as possible, transparent as possible to ourselves. Ayan. So as a recap lang of the key takeaways that I want you to learn from our session, from our discussion, is first, self-awareness is an important part of academic success. Second, assessing whether your current study habits are still working for you is very important because common study techniques that you may be doing may not be serving you anymore. Third is practicing the answer might help you learn better. And lastly, creating your own system and being consistent with it could help you achieve success. Yan. So now that you know all of these things, I encourage you to take action, to apply all of the things that you learned today, to explore kung ano yung mga napag-usapan natin ngayon, to see, to experiment kung ito ba ay nag-work sa inyo at ano yung hindi nag-work. Because we have to remember that knowledge is only potential power. It is action that is power. So that ends my presentation. But before I say goodbye, I want to just promote my page, advocacy pages called The Uplifting Space. I'm on both Facebook and Instagram. So I post about mental health, adulting, and personal growth. So if you are interested into those kind of content, you may follow me or connect with me through my social media accounts. Okay, with that, thank you very much and may you have a good day.
Thank you, Ms. Charmaine, for wonderful and informative topic. I'm sure our student learned a lot from you. Of course, I also learned from you. So actually, magagamit ko din siya while I'm working, no? So for the second part of our program, it is also a great pleasure for me to introduce our second speaker, who is going to present to us about how we will manage our stress in the midst of the new normal. Our speaker, although having spent almost her entire career as a registered social worker from government and non-government office, advocating the rights of young children and family care. A graduate of Bachelor Degree of Social Work at Philippine Christian University, she has also received different recognitions, nominations, and attended conferences from both local and international organizations. She is currently taking up her MA in Psychology with specialization in family life at the Philippine Women's University. She is an advocate of mental health and a champion of wellness of PW employees. As she is also working as a program officer at the PW Institute of Family Life and Children's Studies. Students, ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome our speaker, Ms. Maria Sara G. De Los Santos.
Good morning, everyone. Nako, Miss Almacen. Miss Charmaine, maraming salamat. Marami akong natutunan kasi nasa stage ako on reviewing. Ayan. Reviewing talaga, no? For my comprehensive exam. Ayan. So, are you seeing my slides now? Sir?
Yes po, yes po.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Sara.
Good morning. Let me begin. So, since si Miss Almacen, natuto kayo, kasi pare-pareho tayong estudyante. But at the every day, meron pa rin hindi tayo maiwasan. And ang tawag daw dyan ay stress. Ayan. May positive stress naman, eustress, at merong negative stress, which is distress. But then, good morning. So let the stress begin. So knowing who you are, who we are, and what we want to be is the most important ingredient in ensuring our health and well-being. So importante na alam natin kung sino tayo at ano-ano yung gusto natin gawin. Because stress can only be tolerated up to a certain point. Beyond that point, psychological and physiological harm may ensue. Pwede nang sumunod yun kung ma-exceed natin yung limit ng ating stress. So, from the psychologist's point of view on stress, sabi nga, stress tends to concentrate on the underlying pressure, mga stressors. So, ano ba ang mga stressors natin? Ano-ano ito? Which relates to the way in which we lived our lives and the work that we do, ano man yung work, whether nag-aaral tayo or we are really working to earn. So psychophysical reaction, which at the very least may affect the person's general health and well-being if prolonged, or may even be life-threatening at times. So we need to understand and to cope with stress. So we need to learn more about how our body also reacts to fear and anxiety, sa takot at pagkabalisa. So yung commonly held views among psychologists is that may mga psychological weak spot na usually nadidetermine at nai-influence bata pa lang tayo. So it makes their appearance on early on in our childhood. In particular, those which arise from early emotional relationships. And also in psychology, because I'm taking up MBA in Psych, and then in life, there are two categories of developmental, of crisis. Two categories of crisis. One is developmental and one is accidental. Pag sinabing developmental crisis, this starts from womb to tomb. So from birth to death. So birth, weaning, toilet training, up to being adolescent and then marriage. As to accidental crisis naman, these are situations from which at times hindi natin maiiwasan, like loss. Like ngayon, ang daming loss, ang daming deaths na hindi natin mapipigilan na yata kasi it's a pandemic, it's a crisis, and true na it is stressful. Yun, distress nga on the negative side because we cannot do anything about it because everything is being learned pa kung paano i-combat yung mga losses ngayon in terms of dying of relatives and friends. So, but then we need to live. We need to continuously live. Yan. Patuloy tayong mabuhay. So, may stress, but then we focus on how to cope, on the coping management of the stress. Because stress affects every area of our being and is being affected by every area. So, I can assume that you and I is experiencing a considerable stress at this time. So, I'm not excluded. Lahat tayo. This webinar will not take away all our stresses. This webinar will just give us handles. Yan. That would be because you know hindi wala namang nakatakas sa stress na to. That would be impossible. But my urge you towards a specific technique siguro, which maybe you also have na utilizing, or in practice. Attitudes you have na, it could be you have it inside of you, it's innate. And then habits, yung mga nakakasanayan nyo na, that will help manage the stress. So if you apply them, this principle will turn your strain back into manageable and keep us all well safe on the safe side of our personal yield point. So I suggest, kanina maraming suggestion which I also learned, ayan, that you write a stress management or include in your daily writings, or if you have journals, stress management schedule. So for the next 6 months or so. So don't feel guilty for having stress in your life. Ayan, wag naman tayo mag-guilty. Instead, we need to be diligent about making good choices in dealing with that stresses. So, what is stress? So people will not and cannot succeed in eliminating stress from their lives. It's logical impossibility. So if you eliminate all stress from your life, you and me don't have a life. We're dead. So few without the stress is an intrinsic part of the modern life. But without stress, we would be unable to experience the thrills and excitement of living. Diba? Even in studying, pag sinabing cramming, to connect with Ma'am Almacen session kanina, pag sinabing cramming, relate ako dyan. May excitement akong nararamdaman kasi mas mukhang marami akong natatandaan until dumating na yung examination day. But then, syempre stressful yung cramming period na yon. So, tignan natin, stress is a part of life, so it can be a good part of life, though we may not feel that right away now. But then, stress, sabi nga, stress is involuntary. Talagang mararamdaman mo na lang siya physically and psychologically, nagre-respond tayo to stressor. So, going on, moving on, stressors. Ano ba yung mga stressors na na-experience natin? These are few lists. Yan, not everyone is there. Not everything is there. Not complete. Maybe you have your own set of stressor na nararanasan ninyo every day. But in this list, usually it's family conflict. Lalo na ngayong pandemic, most of us are at home. Ayan, marami sa atin na ngayon pa lang nakikilala yung ating family, yung ating brother, yung ating sister, or kung sino man relatives inside the home. Minsan, maraming family conflicts arising, di ba, from relational to financial concern. Andyan na rin yung health concern. Health concern because we need to take care of our health, because in taking of our health, in this COVID pandemic situation, we are also taking care of our others in the family or in the neighborhood. Andyan din yung never-ending to-do list. Kanina, nabanggit rin ni Ma'am Almacen na sa ano pa lang, sa opening pa lang ng ating head of GCDO, sinasabi na may mga estudyante na hindi lang nag-aaral but also working na to augment family income. And syempre, kung mag-to-do list ka, ang dami na niyan. Ito yung for my study, and then ito yung for my part-time job. Relationship is a stressor also, whether it's again relationship to our family member or relationship to our significant others or relationship to our friends, lalo na ngayon na usually hindi usually, eto na yung new normal natin, it's really virtual relationship we had. So minsan kung with significant others, mahirap rin i-manage LDRs o yung long distance relationship. Pressures to achieve. Siyempre, we're studying. Marami siguro on FB Live watching student na pressure to achieve, because totoo naman yan we're learning to earn. And that's one fact na we need to embrace and to realize na the pressure to achieve, because we also want to be somebody else. Ayan, a better person, much better person, or yung merong tinatawag na edge from the rest. Meron ding stressors on deadlines. So, deadlines, sino bang walang deadlines? Sa mga nag-aaral at nagtatrabaho, pareho lang na may deadlines yan. Demanding social life, tama, mas demanding ang social life natin ngayon. As to sources of stress, nabanggit ko na rin kanina na may student na nagpa-part-time job na. So, yung source of stress, boundaries between with your personal life, kailangan i-balance natin. As to personal life, may mga lacking opportunities din tayo to relax. Kanina nabanggit din ni Miss Almacen na gano'n na ba ako katagal nagre-relax. Pero when you're working and you're studying, baka maikli na lang yung time to relax. Kaya lacking opportunities na yan to relax, which minsan stressful sa atin. And then expectation about ourselves, yung ating being financially successful and socially successful, connecting to the stressor of demanding social life. So, moving on, nilagay ko ito kasi these are real experience. Me also as a student like you, taking up MA in psychology, specializing on family life development. The types of stress students face, we students face ito. Academic stress, social stress, and stress of daily life. Sa academic, it's more of learn and memorize. Ayan, kanina may mga techniques na, so may handle na tayo. So thank you, Ms. Almacen. Meron din tayong academic stress on meeting deadlines. And then academic stress on, syempre, getting good grades. Importante yung getting good grades. Kasi when we apply for job, usually may mga company na IQ natin yung tinitingnan o yung grades natin yung tinitingnan. Social stress, eto na yung peer pressure. Peer pressure, minsan, di ba, parang ang tagal mo nang nasa social media or on your phone, ayan, doing Facebook, Twitter, ayan, hanging around with friends, or for those na gamers, sa mga boy, na mga student, ayan, ang tagal mo nang Mobile Legend or other games of your interest. Ayan, may peer pressure dyan kasi minsan, diba, may time na talagang ini-invite ka ng friends mo na, ito na, kamusta ka na, ganyan, mag-aaral ka pa. So, isa yan, peer pressure. Kasi you need to maintain also the relationship, kung lalo na if you are putting a lot of importance to it. New relationship, eto tinignan ko new relationship, hindi lang sa significant other. Minsan new relationship rin with the father we do not know, the mother we do not know, the sister we do not know, the brother we do not know. Parang new relationship kasi ang dati natin is gabi na lang tayo halos nagkikita. Minsan tulog na tayo pagdating ng ating mga magulang. New relationships rin also because we have new classmates, virtual pa. Ayan, and new professors, virtual pa. Academic versus social life. And then adjusting to new environment. Ito na, the new normal na hindi na natin matatakbuhan, hindi na natin matatakasan. Kasi ito na yung sinasabi ng mundo, this is the new normal. This is how the environment should be. This is how things should go. So stress in daily life, yan, financial burdens. Swerte siguro kayo kung hindi kayo belong to the marginalized sector of the society. Pero mas marami sila yung mga financially burdened na umaasa sa pandawid. I'm speaking because I'm a social worker by profession din. So nakikita ko yung financial burden to families ngayon, lalo na yung mga nawalan ng work. Ayan. Or nalimitahan yung work, nabawasan yung hours ng work. It would mean also bawas yung financial income nila paggamit for the family. Of course, daily commute. Para dun sa mga nagko-commute, dun sa mga work from home, thank you. Pero may daily commutes pa rin tayo kasi we do groceries. Ayan, whether student ka, you can also be asked by your parent kung ikaw ay 19 above, ayan, so at ang parents mo ay senior na, so may daily commutes ka on doing errands for the family. Nakaka-stress din yon kasi around you wala tayong control because maaring nag-iingat ka pero paano yung makakasama mo sa paligid mo. Ayan, in our travel, kahit minsan maikli lang yung travel na yun. And then part-time job is also can also be a daily stress in life. So on your screen, I've listed some of the typical effects of stress or strain. Ayan, siguro itaas-taas na lang yung kamay ninyo para may sort of activity rin tayo kahit hindi ko kayo nakikita ngayon. Kung nararanasan nyo ito, para may galaw-galaw naman habang nakikinig kayo sa akin this morning. So all these conditions are commonly found in stress victim, yung mga nagpapabiktima sa stress. So they may have causes other stress or anxiety, and it's wise to check first with your doctor para ma-exclude, baka kasi physical condition lang naman din yan at hindi stress. So taas natin, sino yung feeling low? Sino yung on the edge? Meron ba? Sino yung irritable na siya? Sino yung madalas umiyak o mabilis umiyak, easily cries? Sino yung gusto nang tumakbo, wants to run or hide? Who's experiencing difficulty in concentrating? Or wala na, hindi tayo maka-focus? Who's experiencing forgetfulness? Who's experiencing putting things off? And then, do you experience sleeping badly, yung hindi na tuloy-tuloy yung sleep mo, pagising-gising ka na, or kung nagising ka na, hindi ka na rin makabalik sa sleep mo? Sino rin yung having nightmares? Sino yung facing spells, trembling, sweats or breathlessness, may dry mouth, may lump throat, may appetite loss, excessive eating, yan, need to urinate, laugh nervously, stuttering, nervous, easily startled, lacking energy, easily tired. So these are effects of stress that we need to pay attention to. Kung excessive na yan, then we really need to seek for professional help. Kanina may list, ngayon tignan naman natin on our body, mind, and emotion. So, kung makikita nyo, ito yung effect ng stress on our body, on our mind, our emotions, and behavior. Because stress is not just in our head. Though we may think about that stressors in life is very important. You also need to train, we need to train our body to be ready for stress. Andyan na siya, so we just need to train our body to be ready for it. The point is that people don't always react as you would expect them to. So, iba-ibang tao, because we are unique, iba-iba rin na ang reaction natin to these stresses. This stress, ayan, this kind of stress in body, in mind, and in behavior. So, some people may have stressors but exhibit little stress. Yung parang ang laki-laki na ng concern pero hindi mo siya makikitaan na sobra siyang nasa-stress. Meron namang tao na parang sa tingin natin, ang liit na bagay pero stress na stress siya. So while others have relative pressure-free lives, ayan, ganda yun, ano? Pressure-free lives, but still respond stressfully to little things that occur. Ayan, okay. So moving on, kung kanina nakalist, tapos may frame, eto naman din pala siya when it comes to the parts of our body. Kasi when we pay attention, tama yun parang i-drawing para matandaan. Ito, tignan natin biologically kung ano ang effect nito on our body. So, sa ating saliva, ayan, saan siya? Sa mouth part. Sa mouth part. Meron na flow. Yung flow, yung decreases. Alam mo yung parang medyo minsan natutuyuan ka ng laway. Tapos on the eyes, yung may pupil dilate tayong na-experience. Sa ating skin, merong blood vessels constrict, chills, and sweating. Minsan pa nga meron ka nararamdaman na or itchiness dyan. Sa lungs, ayan, meron tayong quick or deep breathing minsan occurs. Sa heartbeat, maliban sa kung nai-inlove tayo, mabilis ang tibok ng puso natin, minsan ganun din pag nasa-stress tayo. Malakas rin or mabilis rin yung beat Kaya lang much harder kasi kinakabahan tayo. On the bowel, on the stomach side, ayan, may mga food movement o slowdowns tayo. On the muscles, merong muscles na nagiging tense yung muscles natin from the neck to the shoulder to the back. Ayan, minsan legs rin natin, depende kung which part of our body is reacting. So, blood vessels, may blood pressure, increasing blood pressure. Ayan, so. But then, with this wrist frame, and then which body parts usually reacts when we are stressed. Let's now go on to how do we manage our stress. So the main component of effective stress management is this: equipping your mind and body to deal with stresses that come your way. I'd like to emphasize and repeat, so we need to equip our mind and body to deal with the stresses that come our way. So in most cases, we can choose to be stressed or not be stressed. And that is stress management. So we need to remember that stress does not just happen to you. It also involves how you and me respond to what happens. So let's try to look at this management strategy. So we have foundational, and we have a targeted strategy in terms of managing stress. Again, these are just addition to what you are already doing and putting into practice at this point in time. So, on the foundational strategies, we get organized. Kanina, ang daming handles from Ms. Almacen. That's helpful to you and me as students. So, we get organized. Like, we get organized in our class time, we get organized in our examination time, and we get organized in terms of our assignments and our due dates. It's important, as said also by the first speaker, Ms. Almacen, exercise. Support and connection with friends is also important. So in terms of time management, to have focus, we need to do time blocking for intense focus work. Focus on the time we schedule or allot for workout. Laundry, if you are doing or helping in your household chores, or doing groceries and shopping. And then avoid procrastination. And then we balance social and academic stressor. Example nga, in terms of getting into schedule, ito basic lang. So we can wake up 8 or 9 in the morning, go to lecture, work out in the afternoon, or go home and eat, or clean up the dishes, and then focus and get work things done. You can also focus your work in the morning or stop working in the evening, or vice versa, whatever works for you. In terms of targeted strategies, when you get overwhelmed or out of control, we need to slow down a bit. We need to stop, and then we need to practice deep breathing. So at this moment, I'd like to invite you watching on Facebook to quiet down a bit, and then I'd like to invite you to a breathing exercise. Simple lang naman. It's an inhale on 4 counts and exhale on 4 counts. And we're gonna do this 3 times. Are you ready? Since we are ready, so inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me do the counting. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in slowing down, kahit paano, we become a little bit relaxed. Another thing that you can do when overwhelmed or out of control is mindful observation. Dahil nag-slow down na tayo, nag-deep breathing na tayo. So we can do mindful observation, which leads now to number 2, mindfulness. Mindfulness is being at the present moment, not being judgmental on what is happening around, just accepting it. Yan, paying attention to it, watching it, appreciating it with curiosity, and then observing bodily response. You can also do self-talk. Usually self-talk in our mindfulness exercises usually are positive self-talk, like I acknowledge that I am stressed at this time, but this stress will easily go away. Yan. I am appreciating myself now. Things will get better. And these are all positive self-talk na very helpful for our mind, body, and spirit. Manageable. Number 3 is managing steps. Minsan ang laki-laki ng goal, no? Pero minsan pala, we just need to take things easy, di ba? One step I can take today. Hanggang ma-reach natin ang goal na yan. One step at a time. So I also added in the icon here, stress management skill. So minsan we just need to reduce the noise, whatever noise na interrupting us. Minsan we need also to include in our skills, ayan, self-limitation. Exercise, healthy diet is important, sleeping habits, time management, and meditation. In coping management, how to make stress your friend. Yan, gawin na lang natin siyang kaibigan kasi eto na siya eh. Nangyayari na siya. So remember GEMS, the GEMS, GEMS, for your takeaway for our webinar today. Yung gratitude. You can think of 1, 2, or as many things that you are grateful for today. When you wake up in the morning, what are you grateful for? You are grateful for that you wake up na, nagising pa tayo. You can be thankful na nakakahinga pa tayo. You can say thank you that there is food on the table. Thank you that I'm still enrolled in my online class. Thank you for my job. Thank you for my employer. Kung sa physical naman yan, thank you that I have good health. You can name as many things that you can be grateful for. If you have journal, you can write it, or you can also do self-talk on what you're grateful for. Exercise. So, ang daming exercise available online na mag-fit sa uniqueness mo o sa kung anong trip mo. May very, tedious exercise. Meron namang slow lang, easy lang, pero relaxing exercise. Ayan, we have a lot. So, we make use of our social media yung social media availability into a very positive way of utilizing it. So madaming yoga exercise, may qigong exercise. May also combination ng meditation exercises also. Ayan. So sa meditation naman, it's really quieting of the mind, listening to the mind. Minsan in meditation, there is what they call body scanning. Ayan, from which we pay attention which area or part of the body hurts. And then we do meditate. Service sa GEMS. Yung service, I mean here is kahit mahirap yung buhay, sobrang hirap, sa hindi naghihirap, so isama natin yan sa what are we parang grateful for. Salamat, hindi ako kasali sa marginalized. Salamat, hindi, wala akong financial burden na i-experience in life. So salamat. In doing service, kung marami ka naman ipapasalamat, if you can still help a family member na medyo nahihirapan, that's one thing. Doing service. You can start from who's inside the house. Maybe your brother, your younger brother or sister na having difficulty in their schooling. Ayan, that can also be service. Service also sa parents when you can help out in doing household chores. If you want to be man and women, men and women, for others naman, you can do service like baka pwede kang magpadala kasi nga mahirap ang face-to-face ngayon, may physical distancing and social distancing. Sa neighbor ninyo na nabalitaan mo na walang makain, baka you can share food, extra food na mapapaghatian ng pamilya na yon. You can name as many service you can think. Service can also be praying for somebody, praying for those who are afflicted with COVID. That's also service on the spiritual parlance. I know you can do as many creative ways of extending service to those who are in need, from the family to others in the community. Additional handle rin, I choose this holistic will of harmony in life para mas marami tayong handles nga in terms of embracing, accepting stresses in life dahil hindi na nga natin siya maiiwasan. Physical activity, mental enrichment, then spiritual well-being, and then social interaction. For life balance, yung state of mind natin is influenced by the environment one creates. Again, we are all unique people. We are different individuals, so we have different ways of creating life balance and creating our environment. So we choose how to live life. You choose how to live your life. And then taking care of oneself is a lifestyle. So it's important that we take care of ourselves, especially in the situation that we are all into right now. Life balance in body. Kasi di ba may frame tayo kanina? My body, mind, emotions. Ito sa body, importante na we have to consider eating proper food, nutritious food. Yan. Regular exercise, adequate rest. We need to have adequate rest. We also need to have recreation. Minsan yung recreation, kung naisisingit or napapayagan tayo at nakakalabas kayo, that's good recreation. Pero minsan, you can do some recreation outside your house, doon na lang sa backyard ninyo or front yard ninyo. Minsan, ang recreation now is more on planting, ganyan, whether fruit-bearing trees, flower-bearing trees, or just plant. Regular check-up, so to avoid but then yung regular check-up, kung pwede kung papayagan tayo at kung posible. Pero hindi tayo kailangan mag-self-medication. In terms of mind, from the body to the mind, katulad nito, congratulations, you are attending this seminar and training. You're learning, we are also learning, we'll be learning from you also because it's a two-way thing. Para sa ating mind, kailangan natin matuto pa habang nandito tayo lahat at naka-confine sa ating mga bahay. Reading quality materials dahil ang dami natin sigurong time, lalo na ngayon na hindi na tayo masyado nagta-travel. Yung personal goals and direction natin, we can ano ba tawag yun, repurpose. Kasi nga, new normal na. So, ano na ngayon ang meaning of life sa'yo at paano mo na i-repurpose yung goal mo and your direction. And positive thoughts, ayan, is very helpful. Kasi mas nakaka-boost siya ng ating mind. In terms of heart, kung meron kanina dun sa aking naunang slide na stressor in terms of new relationship, eto naman yung balance nun. We can nurture that relationship. Virtually siguro, message siguro, ayan, baka naman pwedeng mas creative na ang messages mo. Pwedeng gumawa ka na ng art card to nurture the relationship. At para rin ma-boost yung moral ng kung sino man, kung anumang relationship ang gusto mong in-nurture, whether a relationship with your parents, with your mother or your father, your brothers, sisters, relatives, or your significant others. This is living life inside out. In terms of balance, life balance sa soul, ito marami din tayong time to pray. Ayan, prayer and meditation. Sabi nga sa study, ang daming nakaka-survive because of their relationship, because of their faith in the God that they know, because of being prayerful. Yan, nurturing our spirituality is a balance to the soul. And then kanina dun sa GEMS, meron tayong service, balance sa soul din ang effect nun when we are helping other people. So we do self-care, ayan, and then we take care of ourselves. That's the best ngayon. Important that we do self-care in order for all of us to be able to take care of our others. So self-care can be asking for help. Hindi natin kakayanin lahat, but then we can ask for help pag hindi na kaya. And then, spending time alone, kahit nasisikan tayo sa bahay, please find time to spend time alone with yourself. Then putting yourself first is self-care. And then asking for what you need. Setting boundaries, self-care. Staying at home is self-care because in staying at home, you take care of others. And then saying no, ito yung siguro pinakamahirap, yung saying no. Pero minsan self-care rin yan kasi baka nga hindi mo naman nakaya. So you need to say no once in a while. And forgiving yourself, forgiving ourselves. And then taking a step back. These are the self-care na I'd like to live with you. So at this time, I'd like to invite you in closing to this 2-minute lang naman, release stress in 2 minutes. Ayan. So gagayahin lang natin yung sa video. And then that would be the end of my presentation. So I'm just going to turn off my
I'm going to teach you a really powerful tool called tapping, and we're going to tap on the feelings of being overwhelmed and stressed out. I'm Jodie Shield, and I'm author of my brand new book, Life Tonic, a modern toolbox to heal your life and soothe your soul. So just practice for a minute with me, tapping on the outside edge of your left hand. And you're going to repeat after me now. Even though I feel stressed out and overwhelmed, I deeply and completely accept who I am and how I feel. Even though I feel stressed out and overwhelmed, I deeply and completely accept who I am and how I feel. Even though I feel stressed out and overwhelmed with all I have on, I deeply and completely accept who I am and how I feel. Take the hand you've been tapping on, 2 fingers, and tap on the beginning of either eyebrow. And we're going to shorten what we've just been saying. I'm stressed out and overwhelmed. Tapping on the side of the eye, where the bone curves round. I've got so much going on. Tapping underneath the eye on the bone there. I'm being bombarded with stuff. Tapping on the top lip, and it's really stressing me out. Tapping on the chin. I've got so much on my plate right now. Hand in a fist and tapping on the V. I can't see what to do next. Tapping under the arm. I can't think clearly. Tapping on your head. I've got so much going on in my life. So once you've done a couple of rounds of negative tapping, you then do a round of positive tapping. So keep up with me. Tapping on the eyebrow. I choose to relax now. Side of the eye, I choose to feel calmer now. Under the eye, I choose to surrender now. Top lip, I choose to relax now. Chin, I choose to find some space. Collarbone, I choose to surrender now. Under the arm, I choose to find peace. Top of the head, I choose to relax. Closing your eyes, taking a really nice deep breath in and release. And sense how you feel now.
Thank you so much, Miss Sarah, for informative and wonderful and also relaxing presentation. So we've learned a lot from you, especially on how we will deal our stresses in our life. No? So for the third part of our program, I am so pleased to be with our next speaker for today and to have the chance to introduce our guest speaker, who is going to present to us on how we will recover from different setbacks. This is a subject in which we should all be deeply interested because we always hear the word resilience. Our speaker, although having spent almost his entire career as an educator and guidance advocate, and also a graduate of a bachelor degree in psychology at Philippine Normal University, and also a fresh graduate of MA in counseling at De La Salle University, he is currently working as a teacher guidance advocate at DepEd CP Garcia High School, Quezon City. He is an advocate of guidance counseling and mental health, and as well as a champion educator. He is also my childhood friend who encouraged me to enter the field of mental health. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mr. Daryl C. Correa.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to all of you. Good morning, Philippine Women's University. Before I begin, I want to thank you guys for the invite, for the trust, so I can share my advocacy with you. All right. So a while ago, I know that we've learned a lot from the sessions of study habits, right? Natuto tayo ng iba't ibang mga additional techniques about our study habits. Kaya makakatulong yan, especially with our academics, right? Then, natuto rin tayo on stress management strategies. Tama? Na makakatulong sa atin kung paano natin harapin ang stress. Right? So ngayon naman, with my part, I'll share something about resilience. Sabi nga ni Sir Andrew, naririnig na natin ang salitang resilience. At ano nga ba itong resilience na ito? So this is relevant because we're now actually more than a year of the pandemic since March 2020, right? And now, nandito pa rin yung virus, uncertain, hindi tayo sure kung hanggang kailan siya, kailan ba ito matatapos, di ba? Hanggang kailan itong pandemic na ito. Ayan, so now, I'm gonna share my screen. Ayan, and I can see in the Facebook Live that we now have almost 1,000 participants. Kidding. Yeah, 100 plus participants. Yeah, we have 100 plus participants sa ating FB page. Ito po sa inyong lahat.
So while waiting for the PowerPoint presentation, no, so I would like to acknowledge the presence of our dear students. Actually, we have a lot of students from different, from BED, tertiary, and also from graduate school. And we have also faculty and parents are watching right now. So, sige, Sir Daryl.
All right, so we will now proceed with the third topic, which is hashtag Bangon, resilience in the new normal. In reality, we currently have the VUCA world. So this is what we call VUCA world. So what is VUCA? V stands for volatility, U means uncertainty, C means complexity, and A, ambiguity. So ang mundo sa ngayon ay tila pabago-bago, hindi tiyak, magulo, malabo, at alam natin yan na naramdaman natin yan taong 2020 because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And we transition to the new normal, di ba? With distance learning, nawala sa face-to-face classes, at lahat ng ito, no? Sama-sama. So with the reality of VUCA world, as an individual, how can we face these uncertainties? Paano natin ito haharapin? Right? So, ang tanong ko sa inyo, after the 1 year of yung quarantine, lockdown, di ba? It's more than a year now. Nakapagpagupit na po ba kayo? Nakapagpagupit na po ba tayo? Yan, ako kakapagupit ko lang. Yan. Alright, so kung titignan natin dito sa future, exaggerated, no? Oo, but this is part of the new normal as we take safety precautions, following safety protocols, di ba? Hand washing, di ba? Physical distancing for our safety. Tama? Ayan. And, ayan. So, tignan niyo po itong meme na to. I can relate with this. I can imagine myself with this meme. So, my quarantine snacks in one night. Ayan. Kaya ang tendency, ayan, nag-increase yung pounds. Di ba? Ayan. And sometimes, itong mga memes na ito, di ba, kapag tayo ay naguguluhan, nalulungkot, nakakapagpangiti sa atin pang mga ganitong memes. So, minsan, pwede tayo mag-search ng mga memes, di ba? Makakapagpangiti sa atin tulad nito. Ang cute ng baby, di ba? Ang lusog. Alright. So now, before we begin, gusto ko muna magkaroon tayo ng well-being check. Okay? Para magkaroon tayo ng kumustahan sa sarili natin at sa isa't isa. Okay? So, this is a well-being check. So, in a scale of 1 to 7, 1 being the most happy face and 7 being the most sad face right now. So you may type your answer sa comment section ng Facebook. So in my case, I'm on number 2 because I'm happy right now sharing with you. So it's 2 for me. How about you? May I see your answer in the Facebook Live? Kindly type your answer, 1 to 7. Now, I'm seeing your answer now. So number 2, number 3, number 1, right? Okay, 2, 3, 1. And for some, it's 4 and 5, depending on their recent situation. There, I'm seeing number 2. Thanks for your response. Next, using the same scale, kamusta naman ang iyong isip? How's your thoughts? Kamusta ang lagay ng iyong isip ngayon? 1 to 7, I'm on number 3. How about you? Please type your answer in the Facebook comment section. There, I'm seeing 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, and I also see 4, 5, 6. Right? So, meaning, sa katotohanan, there are times na nandito tayo sa 4, 5, 6, 7 when it comes to our thoughts. Right? Lalo kung ang dami na natin iniisip, sabay-sabay, ang daming inaalala, di ba? Ang daming kailangan gawin, di ba? Na nagpapagulo, nagpapangamba sa ating kaisipan. And that's part of our life, no? What matters is how we acknowledge and be more aware. So that's self-awareness Meaning, alam mo, self-aware ka, alam mo yung nangyayari sa'yo ngayon, na ito yung nararamdaman ko sa kasalukuyan. Mindfully, mindfulness. Sa ngayon, ito yung naiisip ko sa kasalukuyan. So that's mindfulness of your emotions and your thoughts. So importante yan sa atin, no? Then next, kung naman ang iyong kilos? So 1 to 7, how's your behavior? I'm on number 3. How about you? Please type your answer in the comment section. There, I'm seeing 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. There, so most of your answers is actually number 2 and number 3. Okay? Then, how about your physical condition? Kumusta naman ang iyong physical na pangangatawan? So 1 to 7, I'm on number 2. Healthy naman after a year of pandemic. So kayo po pakilagay sa comment section. There, I'm seeing 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. Maraming 3 and 2. And I'm seeing 3, 4, 5. There, it's a reminder for us to take care of our physical health. Kasi kapag ang sagot natin dito ay 5, 6, 7, di ba? Masama yung pakiramdam, minsan walang gana o hindi makapag-function ng maayos, hindi sapat yung energy o yung lakas para kumilos, di ba? Let us make it sure na inaalagaan natin ang ating sarili. Para kung tayo nandito sa 1, 2, 3, mas may sapat tayong energy at mag-function. Okay? Ayan, so thank you. Then lastly, kamusta naman yung relasyon sa kapwa? Our social well-being. How's your relationships in general? So 1 to 7, I'm on number 2. How about you? Please comment your answer in the comment section. There, it's 2, 3, 2, 3, 1. There, I'm seeing your answer. 1, 2, 3. So from the first question up to the last question, I observed that most of your responses is actually number 2 and number 3. Right? So that's our well-being. So nakakatuwa na kahit may mga pagsubok tulad ng pandemya, namamanage pa rin natin or sinusubukan nating harapin itong sitwasyon na ito. Because most of your responses is number 2 and number 3. At kung sakaling na dyan sa 5, 6, 7, ayan, it's reminder for you to take care of yourself and be mindful of yourself. Self-awareness, napaka-importante niyan. Kasi kung self-aware ka, alam mo yung nangyayari sa'yo, alam mo yung gagawin mo sa sitwasyon. Unlike pag hindi mo pinapansin, hindi ka mindful sa nangyayari sa'yo. Alright? So yan. So napaka-importante ng well-being sa isa't isa. Okay? Salamat po. So now, let's have this short the boss, hashtag the boss. So meron ako ipapakita sa inyo ng mga larawan. So halimbawa, picture kunwari ng tubig, for example, water. Gamit ito, yung tubig na yun, ano ang gagawin mo? That's an example. So let's begin. The boss. Ayan. So nakita niyo po yung mga larawan, di ba? May purse. Yan, merong lampshade, may paso, may ballpen, may stapler. So gamit yan, anong gagawin nyo? Let's start with the first one. Situation number 1, nilalagnat ka. May lagnat ka. Sige nga, gamit yung tsinelas, ano ang gagawin mo? Please type your answer, one word or short phrase sa comment section. Nilalagnat ka. Gamit yung tsinelas, ano ang gagawin mo?
Pwede ba sumali?
Sige, Sir Andrew. Oo, ikaw, Sir Andrew. Gamit yung tsinelas. Tapos ilalagnat ka. Ano yung gagawin mo?
Oo, ano? Kasi inisip ko bibili ng gamot kasi hindi pala ako pwede lumabas kasi di ba may ilaglat ako. So, ano kaya ang gagawin ko?
Ayun, salamat Sir Andrew sa pagsagot. Thank you sa pag-participate. Ayan, nakita ko yung sagot sa Facebook. Naghihingi po ng tulong sa kapitbahay. Gamit yung chinela, susuot ko para hindi malamigan yung paa ko, pupunta ako sa butika. Wow, napaka-participative ng ating mga participants from Philippine Women's University. Number 2, may kulang kang output. Ibig sabihin, may kulang ka sa mga requirements mo. Oo. And gamit yung lampshade, ano ang gagawin mo? Sige po, paki-comment your answer sa Facebook comment. May kulang kang requirement, may kulang kang output. Gamit yung lampshade, ano ang gagawin mo? Paano kayo makakatulong yung lampshade na yan, no?
Actually, sagot ko magpupuyat kasi ako.
Ayun. Kasi sa Andrew, gagamitin niya kasi magpupuyat siya. With all the requirements, yan, no? Ayan, nakikita ko na yung sagot. Ano lang, medyo may delay lang sa Facebook Live, no? From the Google Meet, ayan. So, merong sumagot, kandila, gagawa ko ng output bago yung gabi o madilim, gagamitin ko yung lampshade, ayan, nakakatuwa, sumasagot sila. Number 3, nagugutom ka, you're hungry, then, gamit ang paso, ano ang gagawin mo? Ayan, paki-comment po sa ating FB Live. Nagugutom ka, ano yung gagawin mo sa lampshade? Ay, sa paso, sorry. Sa paso na yan, anong gagawin mo? Nagugutom ka. Ayan, meron, ibebenta ko ang paso para makabili ako ng food. Magtatanim ako ng gulay. Ayan, pwede ko itong paglutuan. Ayan, ikaw Sir Andrew, anong gagawin mo sa paso?
Parang gusto ko rin siya ibenta para, di ba, syempre. Hindi, magtatanim muna ako since usang-uso yung mga plants. So,
ayun, okay.
Kuha ko dun sa bahay nyo ng plants.
Ayun, I see. Oh, plantito tayo, no? Ayan. So, magagamit, no? Then, number 4, may tampuhan kayo ni Love. Gamit ang ballpen, ano ang gagawin mo? Sige, paki-comment po sa ating FB Live. Meron kayong tampuhan ni Love. Gamit ang ballpen, ano ang gagawin mo? Ikaw, Sir Andrew, pag may tampuhan kayo ng partner mo,
dapat sweet tayo, love letter. Sulat ng love.
ayun. So, gamit yung ballpen, gagawa ng love letter.
Yeah.
So, gagamitin. Ayan. Meron din, nakita ko sa FB Live, susulatan ng love letter, gagawa ng love letter. Okay. Then lastly, ayan, ubos na yung allowance mo. Or yung baon mo, for example. Or yung paggastos mo. Gamit ang stapler, ano ang gagawin mo? Ayan, pakicomment po sa ating FB Live. Sir Andrew, gamit yung stapler, pag ubos na allowance mo, anong gagawin mo?
Tatabi ako dun sa nagpo-photocopy, tapos parang may bayad per stapler. Piso-piso lang.
Ayun, oo, gagamitin, no? Para kumita ng pera. Ayan, creative. Oo, ayan. So, nakita ko yung sagot sa FB Live. Ayan, pagdidikitin yung mga papel na kailangan pagdikitin. Ayan. As ibibenta, no? Para magkaroon ng allowance. Nice, nakakatuwa. Virtual clocks para sa ating lahat, no? Imagine, challenging yung mga items at paano siya gagamitin, paano siya gagamitin sa sitwasyon. So, question. Alright. While doing the activity, what did you feel? Ikaw, Sir Andrew, ano yung naramdaman mo nung nakita mo yung mga pictures? Tapos, paano siya gagamitin sa sitwasyon? Ano naramdaman mo?
Actually, parang yung creativity, parang yun yung pinaka naging challenge, no? Paano ka magiging creative in the middle, kung ano lang yung available resources na meron ka.
Ayun. Thanks, Sir Andrew, no? So, yung creativity na kung ano yung merong available resource,
paano ko to gagamitin, no? Ayan, tingnan ko lang sa FB Live kung mayroong sumasagot. Ayan, masaya kasi mayroong paraan sa lahat ng sitwasyon. May iba't ibang ways, di ba? Ayan, salamat sa mga sumasagot sa FB Live. The next question, what were you thinking when you were forced to make use of the given object to solve the problem? So, di ba, parang kailangan mong gamitin tong item na to. So, ano naiisip mo nun, Sir Andrew? And yung iba paki-comment sa FB Live. Sir Andrew, anong naisip mo nun nung fino-force ka to make the given object to solve the problem?
I think, kasi parang you're thinking about parang paano ka kikita or paano maso-survive yung situation. So yun parang survival din ang naiisip ko kung parang nagpupuwersa sa'yo para mag-isip ng sagot or yeah.
Tama, so survival, no? Tapos, ayan, no, nabasa ko sa FB Live, making do of what is available at hand, ayan, finding creative solutions, ayan, thinking out of the box, ayan, nakakatuwa, ang gaganda ng mga nakikita kong sagot sa FB comments. Then, next, is solving the problem with the given object easy? Is it easy? And if yes or no, why? Sir Andrew? Kasi iba, paki-comment po sa FB Live.
Actually, it's hard, no? Kasi mahirap or it will always depend on the situation. So, depende rin sa available resources or somehow depende rin sa available available support with others.
Ayun, yes. Oo, so nabanggit na yung resources and support na meron, di ba? So, depende, pero in general, medyo challenging siya, no? Ayan, so, ayan, yes, mahirap siya. We have something to start with, tapos diskarte ang solusyon, kaya medyo challenging siya. Ayan, salamat sa sagot ninyo. Then, after doing this, what are your insights? Or ikaw, Sir Andrew, what's your main key takeaway?
Well, my takeaway, parang minsan kasi talaga nasa harap na natin yung solusyon. Tapos parang minsan hindi natin napapahalagan yung mga simple solution na nasa harap na natin. Kasi we are always think parang mas malawak na solusyon pero hindi natin iniisip yung mga simple ways or simple things na kailangan natin unahin.
Ayun, oo, na minsan na-challenge tayo, no, sa paghahanap ng solution sa ating mga problems, pero yung pala andyan na, no? So parang dadamputin or kukunin na lang natin. Ayan, thanks Sir Andrew. Ayan, it's fun, unique, relatable. Ayan, may paraan, merong ways, merong options. Ayan, never give up on life when it is hard. Ayan, resiliency, no? Ayan, no? Never give up on life when it is hard. Ayan. So, salamat po sa inyong participation. So now, what is resilience? Okay, according to Krovitz, 2008, this is the ability to bounce back successfully despite exposure to severe risk. So, ano man yung mga dumating na mga pagsubok, challenges, problems, concerns, di ba? It's your ability to bounce back na madapa ka man, di ba? Nadapa ka, ngunit paunti-unti, dahan-dahan kang bumabangon at nakaka-bounce back ka, nakakabalik ka, di ba? Dun sa healthy na ikaw, okay? Then, according to Maslow 2014, resilience is the capacity of a dynamic system to adapt successfully to disturbances that threaten system function, viability, or development. So meaning, kapag resilient ang isang tao, nakaka-adapt siya sa sitwasyon. For example, may COVID-19 pandemic, di ba? And siguro nandun na yung adjustment problems, normal yun kasi hindi tayo sanay dito. Abnormal yung situation na COVID-19, di ba? Siguro initial months like February, March, April, May, June 2020, nag-a-adjust pa. Pero ngayon, na March 2021 na, di ba? Kahit pa paano, nakakapag-adapt na paunti-unti, di ba? So that's our resiliency na maka-adapt, di ba? Dito sa iba't ibang mga problems in the circumstances na ito. And with the risk factors, ano nga ba itong risk factors na ito? No? Oo. So risk factors are factors that increase the likelihood of a future negative outcome. So these are the risks, di ba, na mga delikadong pwedeng mong kahinatnan, di ba? dahil nga meron kang halimbawang sitwasyon na nararanasan, and this risk may contribute kung bakit ka basta babagsak na lang, di ba? So now, I want to ask you, di ba? And these are the examples. So family conflict, sa bahay, problems sa bahay, dissatisfaction at work, di ka na masaya sa work, feeling of incompetence, tingin mo hindi ka magaling, things like that. These are some of the risk factors. Now, can you cite an example? Can you comment sa FB Live natin? One risk factor that you are exposed to as a person. So, for example, here, family conflicts, di ba? Dissatisfaction at work, feeling of incompetence. Ikaw, can you comment a specific risk factor that you are exposed to as a person? Ayan, so yung iba, nakaka-relate sila dun sa family conflicts, di ba? Ayan, di ba naman nakaka-relate dun sa dissatisfaction sa buhay, feeling of incompetence, ayan, at marami pang iba. And I know, alam nyo sa sarili nyo kung ano itong risk factor na to na nangyayari sa inyo. Right? Okay. Then next, ayan, so stress, di ba? Nabanggit na yung stress management kanina. So when it comes to resilience, stress is present in life because there is a need to learn how to adapt. Ibig sabihin, bahagi ng buhay natin ng stress kasi para natututo na natin kung paano tayo mag-a-adapt dun sa sitwasyon. Diba? And later on, this eventually produces an opportunity for resilience. So ibig sabihin, kaya pala tayo resilient, kaya tayo may ability to bounce back kasi sa mga nakaraang pangyayari ng buhay natin, meron tayong mga stressors, diba, na nagko-contribute. Kaya dahil natutunan natin mag-adapt, ngayon, resilient tayo or may ability tayo to bounce back. Ayan. So, ibig sabihin, yung stress kahit pa paano nakakatulong siya sa atin kasi natutunan tayo mag-adapt at nade-develop natin itong resilience. Right? Ayan. Kung meron risk factors, meron din protective factors. Okay? So, what is a protective factor? Protective factor are variables that decrease negative outcome or buffer against the effects of risk factors, di ba? So, sabihin, these are your strengths, di ba? So, ano yung makakatulong sa'yo as your protective factor? So, for example, your social skills, di ba? Your opportunities for success, your passion, and your attitude, lahat ng yan, those are your protective factors. And now, for example, in the Facebook Live, what are your protective factors? O ano yung sabihin mong protective factors or your strengths as an individual na makakatulong with your resiliency? Halimbawa, Sir Andrew, ikaw, what is your protective factor na nakakatulong sa'yo?
I think being optimist, yeah, isa sa nakakatulong talaga siya despite of the negative experience that happens to us. So mag-isip ka lang ng positive thoughts.
Ayun. Salamat Sir Andrew sa pag-share. So kahit may mga pagsubok na nangyari, di ba? Yung optimism, yung how you manage your thoughts, how you manage your emotions, di ba? Makakatulong yun sa'yo with your protective factor. Ayan. Salamat Sir Andrew sa pagsagot. Okay. So makakatulong yun. And now here's the lifeline to resilience. So when it comes to resilience, you need to focus on strengths instead of deficits. So, ibig sabihin, instead of your weaknesses, di ba, mag-focus ka dun sa strengths mo. Halimbawa, sabi ni Sir Andrew, yung optimism niya. So, dun siya mag-focus for his resilience. Right? Then next, look through a lens of strength in analyzing individual behavior. So, for example, nagkamali ka as a person. So, don't be too hard on yourself. Puntahan mo yung strength mo. Yes, this is my weakness. Nangyari to, nagkamali ako. So ano yung mga strengths ko? Ano yung mga protective factors ko na nakakatulong sa akin? So dun ka mag-focus. Okay? For your resilience. Then third, confirm the power to those strengths. Yan. So i-confirm mo, i-accept mo sa sarili mo na yung strengths mo na yan, yung protective factors mo na yan, yung mga bagay na nakakatulong sa'yo, yan mismo ang makakatulong sa'yo for your resilience so that you can bounce back. Diba? And according to Trufino 2010, the accumulation of positive and negative experiences influences an adult's resilience. So yung mga karanasan natin dati, positive man o negative experiences yun, ay nakaka-influensya, diba, sa ating resilience. as a person. Ayan. And now, what are the different attributes of resilience? First is social competence. So, sa pamamagitan ng social competence, di ba, na with your relationships, maayos yung relationship mo sa sarili mo, di ba, maayos mong na-manage yung sarili mo, maayos din yung relationship mo sa ibang tao, sa kapwa mo tao, di ba, sa psikologiyang Pilipino, meron tayong kapwa, di ba, and your social skills, di ba, yung mga yan ay makakatulong sa'yo for your resilience to bounce back. Second, problem-solving skills. Ayan, na pag may problema, katulad kanina, di ba? Merong tsinelas, anong gagawin mo to solve the problem? Right? With your creativity, problem-solving skills, and all these things, di ba? Makakatulong yan sa iyong resilience to bounce back. Then third, autonomy. Yan, na maniwala ka sa sarili mo na ikaw, as a person, as an individual, you have the power. Kaya mo. You have the power to bounce back at matutulungan mo yung sarili mo. Di ba? Ayan, with your control. Kaya mo yan. Number 4, sense of purpose and meaning. So, bakit nga ba ako nandito? Ano bang dahilan? Ano bang purpose? Anong meaning? Ano bang meaning ng mga nangyayari na ito? Diba? Yan, makakatulong yan sa atin. Yung mga attributes for our resilience. And, according to Crowitz 2008, most individuals possess these attributes. So, ano naman daw? Tayong mga tao, tayong mga Pilipino, meron naman tayong ganitong mga attributes eh. Kaya nga lang, whether or not these attributes are strong enough within the individual to bounce back from adversity is actually dependent on having certain protective factors. So dependent pa rin siya, yung resiliency natin, dun sa protective factors natin o yung mga strengths natin with our inner self. Ano ba yung mga strengths mo? Saan ka ba magaling? Saan ka ba malakas? Ano ba yung mga bagay na nakakatulong sa'yo? Diba? Yung mga protective factors na yun daw ay makakatulong sa'yo for your resilience to bounce back. Diba? Kaya ako kayo tinanong kanina na ikaw, cite an example, what is your protective factor? Ano ba yung mga strengths mo na nakakatulong sa'yo? Kasi pag aware ka dyan, yan yung magagamit mo for your resiliency or your ability to bounce back. That's according to Crowitz 2008. Okay? Ayan, nalaman natin ngayon ano yung resiliency, di ba? And somehow, with the current setup of COVID-19 pandemic, di ba? With the new normal of physical distancing, hand washing, safety protocols, right? My recommendation as a mental health advocate for our new normal practice should be the practice of compassion, kindness, and care. Compassion, kindness, and care for yourself as an individual. Makakatulong yun. Take care of yourself. Pahalagahan mo yung sarili mo. Ingatan mo yung sarili mo sa sitwasyon na to. Diba? And also sa kapwa mo, compassion, kindness, and care para naman sa kapwa mo o sa mga ibang tao sa paligid mo like your family members, your friends, your colleagues, your classmates, sa isa't isa, sa ating kapwa tao. Diba? So that should be our new normal, the practice of compassion and care. And I know you have your counseling center in Philippine Women's University. In case you can seek professional help from your university counselors, you have your university guidance counselors, makakatulong sila sa inyo. And somehow, kung yung oras ay alanganin, halimbawa gabi, kasi hindi sila available at the moment, I'd like to promote Natasha Goborn Foundation Hopeline Philippines. They are 24/7 open, 24/7 emotional crisis hotline. So pwede kayo tumawag sa kanila. Ito, using this number, screenshot nyo para ma-save din nyo. You can call them and sila ay makakatulong sila to process your emotional crisis just in case na kailangan nyo ng tulong na hindi available at the moment yung ating University Counseling Office. Okay, that's Hopeline Philippines. Then, hashtag ako naman. So, after my presentation about hashtag Bangon, Resiliency in the New Normal, your comment in the comment section sa Facebook Live, ano ang hashtag mo ngayong umaga na ito? So, let's start with Sir Andrew. Ikaw, Sir Andrew, after hearing all about resilience, what's your hashtag for this morning? Sige po, yung iba, paki-comment po sa ating FB Live so I can acknowledge later.
Hashtag grateful.
There.
Because I'm so grateful.
Hashtag grateful.
Yeah.
Cool, ayan.
because I'm grateful with our speaker, especially
Sige, Sir Andrew, bakit hashtag grateful?
because I'm grateful with our speaker and our student na nag-participate ngayon. Kasi I know, despite of the busy schedule, napaunlakan tayo for this event na importante din na matutunan natin itong mga skills. Kasi itong mga skills na ito, minsan we often forgot or often parang neglect this parang simple skills. Pero hindi natin namamalayan, parang ito pala parang malaki pala ang magiging impact nito sa buhay natin. Kaya grateful ako sa lahat ng bagay ngayon.
Ayun, thank you, Sir Andrew. Hashtag grateful. Ayan, no? And I know marami ng hashtag na dumadating sa Facebook Live. Salamat po sa inyong hashtag, no? And that will serve as your remembrance for this session. With that, maraming salamat, Philippine Women's University.
So thank you, Sir Daryl, for wonderful and informative information. No? Lalo na napaka-importante talaga na kahit basics lang, matutunan na ng mga students natin kung paano tayo babaon in this pandemic or in this painful situation or other experiences. So thank you to our dear speakers for wonderful and informative presentation. I'm sure that our students learned a lot from you. So at this juncture, we will go ahead and take some time for questions. Please be sure to type your questions into the comment sections. So sa ating mga speakers, actually, meron tayong isang question for first palang question kay Miss Sarah, no? Or any speaker po pala. I find playing mobile games helpful in dealing with stress that I am experiencing. But my parents do not understand this. They tend to scold me whenever they see playing online games and they assume that I don't study. Yeah, so parang, kasi may mga student ngayon na parang hindi naiintindihan ng parents or something na parang, ano na naman, parang yung lagi ka nag-online games. So, may Sarah or any other speaker?
Ako talaga una, Andrew.
Yes, of course. Sa'yo na ito
Yeah.
Yes.
Siguro, what that student, student, sabihin mo lang, i-assure mo lang yung parents mo, mother and father, na you are a responsible gamer para hindi sila ma-stress sa'yo. Meaning, meron kang oras in your mobile game at hindi puro mobile game na lang. Kasi maraming parents, akala talaga nila, yun na lang ang ginagawa ninyo. So, para hindi ma-stress si parent, i-assure mo siya na ito yung time mo for mobile game, ito yung time mo for study, ito yung time mo for self-care, ito yung time mo sa kanila. Ayan. It's a matter of clearing your communication, clarifying with your parents what you are into. And sabi mo, helpful tong mobile game. Mommy, ano lang naman ito lang naman oras ko. Ayan.
Actually, parang pwede din nila pala ipakita din yung kunyari schedule nila sa class. Di ba naman, ito, class ko ngayong oras na ito.
Yes.
Or para some assurance na nagka-class talaga sila or so.
True.
So, for Miss Cha, nandito ba si Miss Cha?
Hi! Sige po.
So, reviewing or studying with a group has always been the most effective for me. So, group study. However, in this mode of learning requires me to become more self-directed in studying, and I'm really struggling. What can I do?
So, meaning ng self-directed is magiging independent ka in the group study, ganun ba? Ganun yung ibig sabihin. So, I think it's a strength that you are independent because you can also inspire your group mates to also be independent. So, as I've mentioned in my presentation, I believe na you also have to be independent in your own study habits. Parang pagdating mo dun sa group, dapat meron ka ng alam that meron ka ng pambato sa kanila rin na question. So,
Yeah.
I think it will be more effective if yung study habits mo, kayo individually, meron na kayong mga alam, tapos nag-share na lang kayo with the other group. So, mas maganda yung ganun. In my belief. Ayun po, Mr. Andrew.
Yeah, actually, ganun din naman yung parang kapag effective din naman talaga ang group study. So, I think talaga kailangan on your own, dapat talaga you have the knowledge na rin to share with other students, no? Or with your friends habang nag-group study kayo. Thank you, Miss Cha. So, for Sir Daryl naman, what are the difference or what is the difference of resilience to tolerance? Difference of resilience to tolerance. Sir Daryl?
Hello. Good question, no? Kasi when we say tolerance, pag sinabing tolerance, parang natotolerate siya, hinahayaan mo na sitwasyon, for example, COVID-19 pandemic, nandito siya sa paligid ng virus, nandyan lang siya na-control it, right? So that's tolerance. Oo, kasi natutuloy mo na yung sitwasyon na nandiyan siya kayo. Diba? Then, resiliency is your ability to bounce back. Na kahit nandyan yung sitwasyon, nandyan yung virus, challenging yung virus na nangyayari ngayon, yung pandemic, pero nakakabalik ka dun sa dating ikaw, nakakapag-function ka dun, gawa mo pa rin yung mga activities, diba? Nakaka-adapt ka sa sitwasyon. So that's resiliency.
Thank you so much for that answer, no, Sir Daddy. So, again, for Miss Sarah naman, how can I use stress to my advantage? Paano nagiging advantageous to stress pala daw? Miss Sarah? Or anyone? Or anyone can answer. Nasaan ba si Miss Sarah?
So ano bang klaseng stress yan? parang ako yung nag-clarify eh. Yung stress kasi, not all stress are bad stress. Yan, may sinasabi nga tayong eustress, di ba? Yung positive stress na sinasabi, yung distress is negative. How can you use it to your advantage? Unang-una, yung stress that we are, the feeling of being stressed, that we are putting ourselves into, we can always, tayo ang makakasagot kung paano tayo nagkaroon ng ganong stress.
Yeah.
Yan. Example, sa studies, Ms. Cha, salamat kasi very useful. Gagamitin ko talaga yung mga advice mo. Example na lang natin ng mga pag-aaral natin. Ayan. Kunyari, nasistress na ako kasi exam na. Eh di positively gamitin ko na lang yung galing ko sa cramming. Ayan, kasi kasalanan ko naman nag-procrastinate ako. Diba? So kung patuloy ko pa siyang, patuloy pa ako madidistress dun sa situation na I put myself into because I procrastinate, I did not study, gagamitin ko na lang positively yung cramming. Kasi naging effective kay Miss Cha. Sa akin din effective yun eh. Ang dami ko nare-remember pag nagka-cram na ako. But then, of course, the quality of learning, parang hindi ganun talaga yung retention. Kasi pagkatapos nun, pagod na pagod yung isip mo. Siguro ganun ko siya sasagutin. Paano mo gagamitin yung stress na ginawa natin sa sarili natin into positive thing? Ayan, example na lang kasi hindi mo ako binigyan ng eksakto sa study natin. Mag-cramming tayo positively. Ayan, memorize natin as many as we can para makapasa tayo and at least good yung grade natin.
Miss Cha?
Andrew, can I also answer? How can you make stress positive or work for you? So I think with me, stress kasi can push you to take action. So I think you can use that para yung stress mo, instead of you being overwhelmed by it, baka magamit mo siya to do things or to accomplish things. With me, very effective yun. Kasi sabi nga po ni Miss Sarah, na pagkakaraming ka na, super stressful na, doon ka may nagagawa eh. Minsan mas maganda pag cramming ka. So I think you can do that if that works for you.
And also you can reflect kung naging effective ba sa kayo or ano yung naging effect niya in terms of your output. And somehow, di ba, kung may something na parang yung output hindi masyadong maganda yung lumabas because of the scrolling. Di ba, parang you learn from that experience. And sometimes, no, talagang iisipin mo na, ay, kailangan ko na talagang i-schedule tong mga work task ko para hindi na talaga ako mag-cramming or schedule like yung kaya natutunan ko kanina na useful talaga. So actually may isang question pa rito for Miss Cha. Okay. Sometimes when I review, I get stuck and I keep on repeating the same paragraph. But I don't understand the material. How do I deal with this?
Okay, so hindi ka nag-iisa, no? Ako rin, even master's degree, college degree, no? Ganun talaga. Parang paulit-ulit na binabasa pero wala akong nagigets. So I think that's normal, no? And maganda na na-acknowledge mo na you kept reading one paragraph pero you don't understand it. So I think the problem lies in the focus, eh. Parang hindi siguro ganun ka-focus dun sa binabasa. So one thing I do is maging aware talaga sa kung saan pumupunta yung mind ko. Parang habang nagbabasa ka na re-realize mo na, ay hindi ko naiintindihan, baka may iba akong iniisip. So whenever I notice that, I try to bring back my focus dun sa kung ano talaga yung binabasa ko. With me, ganun yung nag-work. So it really takes self-awareness and the effort to go back dun sa present, sa ginagawa mo, para mabalik yung focus. So I hope that's helpful.
Isa rin siguro sa ginagawa ko, parang take some break. Parang small hours lang na break, parang 5 minutes. Baka kasi talagang kailangan mo na, parang may tendency na magkaroon ka ng parang cognitive overload. Parang ang dami na siguro information. Hindi kahit anong read mo dun sa paragraph, hindi talaga siya papasok. So, importante din talaga yung parang small break or parang stop lang for a while.
That's true. Kailangan din nating mag-self-care paminsan o baka meron kang need gawin muna para makafocus ka ulit sa binabasa mo. Ayun.
So, may questions pa ba tayo? Actually, may isa pa kay Miss Cha or anyone can answer. What if I only have few time to study? What's the best method to review quickly but effectively?
Okay, so na-experience ko rin before, no? 1 hour kasi, di ba, surprise quiz, ngayon mo lang nalaman na paano mabilisang makaka-study. So what I do, I really scan muna the material, ano yung kailangan ko ma-remember, yung mga major na mga subjects or topics. Tapos I try to explain it to myself. Ano yung pagkakaintindi ko dito sa mga to when we discussed it dun sa previous naming session or sa previous naming class. And with me talaga, what's effective is I study in the morning o sa madaling araw na. Kasi with me, I really prioritize sleep after ng school. Matutulog muna ako para medyo relax ako. And then sa madaling araw, dun talaga ako mag-study. And with me, effective siya. Mas natatandaan ko sa madaling araw. I'm not sure po with you kung ganun din.
Actually, relate kasi di ba, parehas kasi tayo ng school ng college. So, parang naalala ko yung Scantron. So, parang di ba, minsan 8 o'clock tayo yung pasok natin. So, while in LRT, di ba, parang try to scan and some keywords. Importante din yung mga keywords and para kahit pa paano Tapos try to explain with yourself kung ano yung mga keywords.
Tsaka yung mga acronym, it works din Like yung ginawa ni Sir Daryl kanina, di ba, VUCA, parang mas maintindihan mo or mas maalala mo. You create, acronym, yon.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm looking kung may questions pa. Pero it seems na wala na. Sa FB ba? May mga questions pa ba mga students? Or I think, di ba kasi because of this topic, parang clearly naman na I'm so thankful naman with our speakers for this morning. Talagang yung information talaga nakatulong sa ating mga students. So, meron pa ba? So, it looked like we've covered all our questions. Beloved speaker, is there anything else you wanted to cover or want to say? Final words? Ako wala naman na.
Good luck. Good luck sa inyo. With our time. And also take care pala. Keep safe. Ayun.
Later, we will also share your Facebook page para yung mga students namin maging aware sila din sa iyong advocacy, no? And all the Philippine Women's University student or to become a advocate of mental health. So, again, thank you for a wonderful presentation. At this moment, please make sure to answer our evaluation form for e-certificate. Kindly scan the QR code for the Google link form, and the evaluation link will be closed and will no longer accept responses after March 26, so tomorrow. Okay, so at this juncture, I would like to present the Certificate of Appreciation to Ms. Charmaine Almacen, Ms. Maria Sara G. de los Santos, and Sir Daryl Correa for being our resource speaker during the webinar entitled Hashtag PW Mind Your Health, Gearing Towards a Better Normal Series 2, a transformative learning system with the following respective topics: prospering through the wide understanding of effective study habits, living your strength, managing your stress, and hashtag Bangon, Resilience in the New Normal. Okay, to give us a wrap up for today, let's all have Miss Teen or Miss Teen Meron for the closing remarks.
I'm really delighted to witness this meaningful discussion between our speakers and our participants. There is so much to take away from these webinars, from the practical study tips to understanding stress, recognizing the importance of our internal and external protective factors, to the new coping skills and mindfulness-based strategies that we can all try to integrate in our daily lives. Before we officially end this webinar series, allow me to express my sincere gratitude to everyone who made this event possible. To our guest speakers who graciously made time for us despite their busy schedules, to our academic team, the campus life, GCTO, ICT, media, and all the other departments, and of course, to our dear students and participants. Thank you very much, and please keep in mind that here in Philippine Women's University, we care about your well-being. Let us all work together as we thrive in the better normal.
Thanks, Ms. Teen. At this moment, please make sure to answer our evaluation form for e-certificate. That's it for today. We appreciate you being here. We would like to thank everyone who made this seminar series possible. Thanks again for joining us today. For more GCTO updates, kindly like our official Facebook page. Again, I'm Andrew Kevin Nicanor, and see you next time. Join us with our PW hymn, God Bless Us All.